Okay, this is our daily study of Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, for those who have yard site for tonight, the 28th of ER. Clara Balo, Benjamin Cotton, Liba Goodall, Jose Cram, Bess Kuznetsky, Samuel Lisser, and Ann Test. Bess Kuznetsky's Hebrew names, Sena Pesha Basia El, Lila Nishmasam, in memory of them all. And as always, a link to the text of the Mishnah will be in the first comment below. We are up to the second to last Mishnah in this chapter. This is chapter 2, Mishnah 14. Rabbi Elazar Omer. Rabbi Elazar says, Have a shakud lilmod Torah, v'dama shetashiv la'apikoris, v'da lifnei mi'ata amel, v'nemanhu bal malachtach sheyashalim lach schar pulasach. So Rabbi Elazar has these lessons. Be diligent in the study of Torah, and know what to answer the heretic, and know before whom you labor, and your employer is trustworthy to repay you the reward of your labor. Okay, so let's go through all these. Be diligent in the study of Torah. So, Torah is something that acquires diligence, really like any field. If you want to excel in it, it's not something you just glance at every now and then. And we should treat Torah the same way, with the same seriousness and the same mindfulness. And know what to answer the heretic. Okay, so we can't be so sheltered that we don't know how to answer the ideas of others. So, for example, one of the books I'm reading now, a lot of people are trying to catch up on their reading in quarantine, is Christopher Hitchens, the great atheist thinker. May he rest in peace. His mother was actually Jewish, which makes him Jewish according to Jewish law. He's a British thinker, very well spoken, and of course I disagree with him. His main contention is atheism, and he has a book called God is Not Great. Sometimes I read that book and others by people like Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, prominent atheists. I try to listen and read everything they write so that I fulfill this dictum of the Mishnah. Know what to answer the heretic, the atheist. You have to have good arguments to counteract them. Similarly, there are good pamphlets to counteract missionaries. Groups like Jews for Jesus, who call themselves Messianic Jews. Now, I have nothing at all against our Christian brethren, who I feel very close bond with, real Christians, right? But what I do have against is missionaries who tell Jews that in order to be a good Jew, you have to convert to Christianity. That, of course, I put into the category of heretic. And traditionally, right, Jews weren't given that choice in a peaceful way. They were given it in a violent way. But they make very good pamphlets to sort of disprove the proofs they try to bring from Scripture. You have to be strongly grounded to know how to disprove them. Now, we should point out the word apikoros, which means heretic, actually comes from the Greek philosopher Epicurus. And I think they still have like a cooking show called Epicurean Cooking. Who was Epicurus? Epicurus was a hedonist. We use that term now in our parlance, hedonism. But he is the father of the philosopher of hedonism, which means that you should just do whatever gives you physical pleasure, and you should just eat, drink, and be merry. And there's no spirituality, there's no afterlife, there's no God. Just do what you want and what you like. Now, a lot of people are hedonists in the world without necessarily being philosophical about it or without knowing that that's what they are. But it's interesting that the rabbis use that word. Epicurus is synonymous with heretic. That's the complete opposite of what a Jew believes. Physical gratification in this world. We believe in spiritual growth, in character, and in transcending our physical selves, right? Okay, so but you see that the rabbis knew Greek philosophy because they knew you can't just stay sheltered. You have to know what it is. You have to know what you disagree with very well. So I know there's a famous story about a man who comes to a rabbi and he says, Rabbi, I'm an atheist. I don't know what to do. And he said, well, what do you mean you're an atheist? Have you read the works of, and then Nietzsche, who says God is dead, and prominent philosophers who are atheists? He said, no. And he said, well, then you're not really an atheist. How can you call yourself an atheist if you're not even down with the scholarship in that field? Go back and read up on atheism first and then tell me you're an atheist. So that's like a Jewish way to view it. You're not a scholar in atheism the same way that there's a scholar of Torah. Now, the first two statements are connected. Be diligent in the study of Torah, you could read it, and then it flows into the next one, so that you know what to answer the heretic. The best way to know what to answer the heretic is not just studying their views, but if you're diligent in your own Torah study, and this is true in all areas of life, if you are confident and strongly grounded in what you believe, and you're diligent about it, you will have the confidence to know and the self-esteem to know this is what I strongly believe in. Be diligent in your study of Torah so that you know what to answer the heretic. Okay. As always, as every single Mishnah we've been discussing this. Is it two separate clauses or does the clauses flow into each other. There's really a lot of rich commentary on that. Sometimes it works better than other times, right? Sometimes it works well. And so too, know before whom you labor, and your employer is trustworthy to repay you the reward of your labor. So Maimonides puts this, so this is also connected to the previous statement, that even as you know what to answer the heretic, you have to still know that, don't get too deep into the study of heresy that you lose sight of what you believe in. I would sort of compare it to a secret agent who has to put on a cover, and there's all the movies about secret agents. Don't get too lost in your cover that you forget the country you're really working for, and you get lost in that identity. There was a great show, I think, on Netflix now about the great Israeli spy Eli Cohen, true story, and with Sacha Baron Cohen, not related, but the actor who's more famous for comedy, but he plays Eli Cohen, and they show how he loses his sense of identity. I mean, he's the most successful spy in world history. He became the deputy defense minister of Syria, and he was an Israeli spy, and he was publicly hanged in 1969, I believe. A great Israeli hero. Okay, but anyway, the point is you can't get so lost in your. And Maimonides knew this better than anyone else. He was an expert in Aristotle and Greek philosophy, and but that's what the mission is saying. But know before whom you toil. Be diligent in Torah study. Know what to answer the heretic, but know that you work for God, so to speak, and be confident that your employer is trustworthy to repay you in the next world. Never lose that faith and that optimism that God will repay you for all of your Torah study and living up to the values of Torah in the next world. Okay, so classic question of Jewish balance: to know the secular world, to know what to answer the heretic, to be engaged with the world, but to still be confident in our own way of life. And every Jewish denomination is trying to strike this balance in the context of modernity in their own way. Okay, so tonight is Yom Yerushalayim, the most recent and modern Jewish holiday, Jerusalem Day, the Hebrew date on which the Israeli army captured the old city of Jerusalem, the Kotel. The famous statement, Harabayat Biadenu, the Temple Mount is in our hand, that they gave the Temple Mount de facto control back to the Muslim Authority, and the Kotel sort of becomes the de facto holiest site that we have, but we regained access to it on this date 53 years ago. So, but since it's a holiday tonight, we won't say the traditional Malay, the sad memorial prayer. We instead say a substitute memorial prayer for following the study of Mishnah. Ana Adonai Malay Rachamim, Asher b'yadcha nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol b'sar ish. Moment. Sorry, I have to get the Hebrew name. Okay, I'm going to start again. Ana Adonai Malay Rachamim, Asher b'yadcha nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol b'sar ish. Yena l'rotzam l'fanecha torasenu tfilasenu. V'avor nishmas sena pesha bas Yael. Yes, kol haskaros shel halaylo. Gumolna imahem b'chastecha agada liftoch lehem shari rachamim b'chesed b'shari gan eden. Uskabelos am ba'avu v'chibo shlach lahem malachecha kadoshim b'tahorim lo licham lo shivim tachas etzachayim. Etzel nishmos hatzadikim v'tzidkanios chasidim v'chasidos le'enos miziv shchinascha. Lasbia mituvcha atzafun latzadikim ba'aguf yanuach b'kever b'menucha nechona. B'chedva v'simcha v'shalom k'dechsiv yavo shalom yanuchal mishkavosam. Holech nechocho ksiv. Yalzu chasidim b'chavod yoranu mishkavosam. Ksivim tishkav lo sifchad v'shachafta v'arba shnasecha. And in English, please, O Hashem, full of mercy, for in your hand is the soul of all the living and the spirit of every human being. May you find favor in our Torah study and prayer. For the souls of Clara Belo, Benjamin Cotton, Lieb Goodall, Joseph Cram, Bess Kuznetsky, Samuel Lisser, and Ann Test, in whose memory we study and pray. Accept them with love and affection, and send them your holy and pure angels to lead to settle under the tree of life near the souls of the righteous and devout men and women, to enjoy the radiance of your presence, to satiate them from your good that is concealed for the righteous. May their body repose in the grave with proper contentment, pleasure, gladness, and peace, as it is written. Let him enter in peace, let them rest on their beds, everyone who has lived in his proper way. As it is written, let the devout exult in glory, let them sing joyously upon their beds. And as it is written, if you lay down, you will not fear. When you lay down, your sleep will be sweet. Amen.